Hello everyone, happy Monday. Welcome back to our class. Today we'll be discussing about measure area. Are you guys ready for this topic? Good. Now before that, we'll be answering some essential question, which is question for chapter 13. Okay, so the question is how are perimeter and area related and how are they different? All right. And also our problem of the day. The problem of the day is we need to display the data in a picture graph. How did you decide what value to give the picture? Write the sentence that interprets the data. Okay, so that would be the problem of the day. Okay, do you have your answer with you? All right, okay. And the common core quick check. Okay, so we have three questions right here that we need to answer. Okay, so we'll be finding the perimeter of each figure. Number one, we have a rectangle that has 5 centimeters, 13 centimeters, 13 centimeters, and 5 centimeters. So find out what's the answer. For number two, we have a triangle that has 6 inches, and for this size is 6 inches, and for this part is 10 inches. And the third question is Pascal wants to enclose his garden. His garden is a rectangle that is 3 yards by 2 yards. How many yards of fencing materials does he need? Okay, so do you guys have your answer? Okay, let's go ahead and check your work. So for number one, the answer is 36 um, centimeters. And for number two is 22 inches. And for number three is 10 yards. Okay, great job. Are you guys correct? Cool. Now, when you're ready, please get your book and open that one, page 771. Let's go ahead and start our class, which is lesson 4. Now, by the way, what is area for you guys? What is area? Any idea about area? Okay, so area is actually is a number of square units needed to cover a figure without overlapping. That means without overlapping. Sometimes you need to count the number of half square units covered by the figure. Okay? Again, we need to count the number of half square units to cover by the figure. So example, each of these is a 1/2 square unit. Okay, so this is a square and it was divided into half, right? So we'll be counting the half of that. So each of this one of this figure is actually 1/2 square unit. Now in this topic, we'll be giving you examples how to measure area. Ready? Okay, let's move on. So the first example is in art class, Haley drew the figure at the right on grid paper. What is the area of the figure Haley drew? So this is the paper, and the Haley's draw is in here. Okay, so in to measure the area, we have the steps and how to do it. Okay, the first step is we need to count the number of whole squares and then count the number of half squares and then add. Okay, so again, the first one is we need to count the number of whole squares, and then second we need to count the number of half squares, and the third one is we need to add the whole squares and then the half squares. Okay, now let's go ahead and do that part. Okay, so all in all, the whole square is 14. There are 14 whole square. Okay, so in the first step that it says that we need to count the number of whole squares. So let's go ahead, let's try and go ahead and do that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14. Okay, so we have 14 um, whole squares. So whole squares got 14 whole squares. How about half squares? So for half squares, we have only two half squares. Okay, okay, we have only two 1.5 squares. That means half squares. The third step is we need to add the 14 whole squares and two half squares. So let's say we have 14 whole squares right here, and then the one whole square. Why? Because 1.5 is equal to one whole square. So all in all, the total whole square is 15 whole square. So the area is 15 square units. Get it? All right. Okay, so let's move on. Second example for this topic is Raphael created the G-board figure at the right. It's in here. Okay, this is the geoboard example that represents a design he created. One square unit on the geoboard represents 1 square centimeter on the design. What is the area of the design? So we'll be looking for the figure or area of this design right here. Okay, now there are two steps in how to do that. The first one is count the number of whole squares, and then we need to count the number of half of the squares. Okay, good. So all in all, the total whole square is 8, and the total half of square is there are count the number of half squares. There are 8 half squares. So 8 halves equal 4 wholes. So okay, all right. Number 3 examples, and then number 3 step is we need to add the 8 wholes square and 8 half square. Okay, so we have 8 whole squares right here, and then four whole squares, because 8 halves added into 8 is equal to 4 whole squares. Okay, so what is the total, by the way? The total is we're going to add 8 and 4. Total is 12 whole square units. So the area of the design is actually 12 centimeters. Okay, great. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so let's try to answer these two questions, and after this, you need to do it on your own. Okay, so for this one, we need to find the area of each figure. So how many square units of this one, and how many square units of this figure right here. Okay, so again, in finding the area of our figure, we need just to count the um the square, the whole square, as well as the half of the square. Now let's try to go ahead and check your work. Okay, so for number 1, it's actually 4.5 square. Why? Because we have how many squares do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1.5. And this one is 5 square units. Okay. Again, the steps on how to find the area is uh, count the whole square, and then you need to count also the half square. But after that, just need to go ahead and add the whole square and the half square, and then you got the answer. Okay. All right. Now, on your end, please go ahead and do the independent practice as well as the homework. Okay, please go ahead and do that. And if you, when you're done with your homework and independent practice, please send it to me. The only picture that I want is your homework. Okay, and if you have more question about a topic, please let me know, and I'll be happy to help you. Bye for now, guys. See you tomorrow.